You believe you control life. You plan, you schedule, you chase certainty as if the universe must obey your will. But life is not a servant. Life is a storm, and the storm does not bow to your commands. Look at your own story. How many times have you drawn a perfect map of tomorrow, only to see it torn apart by a single unexpected wave? You thought the job was secure, until the company fell. You thought the relationship was forever, until it broke. You thought health was guaranteed, until sickness came. Life laughs at your plans, not with cruelty, but with truth. The Stoics warned against this illusion. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, some things are not. But most people live as if everything is up to them." They exhaust themselves trying to control traffic, weather, people, destiny itself. And every failure deepens their suffering. Imagine a man standing on the shore, holding his hands out against the tide. He pushes with all his strength, but the waves keep coming. He grows angry. He grows desperate, until at last he collapses in despair. This is how most of us live. We fight what we cannot command, and we call it control. Now picture another man on the same shore. He does not fight the tide, he rides it. He does not curse the wind, he uses it. He understands the one truth. You do not control the ocean, but you control your sail. You do not control the storm, but you control your course. This is the wisdom the world forgets. The illusion of control is powerful because it feels safe. To believe you can bend life to your will is comforting. But comfort is not truth, and truth is what sets you free. The truth is that life will never obey you. The truth is that control over the outside world is a mirage. The truth is that the only kingdom you rule is within. So pause and reflect. Where are you fighting waves in your life? Where are you exhausting yourself against forces that will never listen? Is it the opinions of others? The decisions of strangers? The events of tomorrow? Ask yourself, what would change if you stopped clenching your fist at the sea and started steering your ship instead? There is an old metaphor. Imagine holding sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. This is the essence of false control. The more you try to grip life, the more it escapes you. You try to control people. You tell them what to do, how to think, how to feel. But the more you push, the more they resist. You try to control outcomes. You demand that every effort produce success, that every risk bring reward. But the more you demand, the more fragile you become when fate refuses. You try to control time itself. You hurry. You rush. You panic, as if your will could slow the clock. But no matter how tight your grip, the seconds fall, one by one, through your fingers. Epictetus understood this. He taught his students to separate life into two domains: what is within your power and what is not. Your thoughts, your actions, your choices, these belong to you. Everything else, fortune, reputation, outcomes, belong to the world. Confuse the two and you suffer. Accept the line and you are free. Think of the sand again. If you hold it gently, it rests in your hand. You may not command every grain, but you enjoy its presence. You appreciate what is there without demanding permanence. But the moment you tighten your grip, you lose it. Control is not ownership. Control is attention. This is where discipline enters. Discipline is not about controlling the world. It is about controlling yourself. You cannot command the storm, but you can command your mind. You cannot bend time, but you can discipline how you spend it. You cannot dictate outcomes, but you can discipline your effort. This is not weakness, it is strength. Modern life feeds the illusion. Technology whispers, you are in charge. You can manage everything, every click, every choice, every outcome. But this is smoke. A single glitch, a single failure, a single twist of fate, and the illusion collapses. And the man who built his peace on control finds himself broken. Do not build your life on sand. Build it on stone. The stone of self-mastery. The stone of discipline. The stone of inner command. For these are the only things no storm can take. Reflect now. What sand are you gripping today? What are you trying to force that was never yours to control? And what would happen if you released the fist? If you chose instead to hold gently, to focus on the power that truly belongs to you? Look around, and you will see a world full of people fighting battles they cannot win. They shout at traffic, as if anger moves the cars. They curse the rain, as if rage dries the sky. They demand love on their terms, as if the heart of another can be ruled like a servant. Day after day they burn their energy against the immovable, and day after day they collapse in frustration. This is the tragedy of the illusion. When you believe you control what you do not, every moment becomes a disappointment. The business deal falls apart and you think fate betrayed you. A friend leaves and you think loyalty failed you. A storm cancels your plans and you think the world mocked you. But the world does not mock. The world simply is. The problem is not reality. The problem is your grip on the fantasy of control. The Stoics were warriors of the mind because they refused to waste their strength where it could not matter. Marcus Aurelius led an empire at war. Yet he wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He commanded armies, but he did not pretend to command fate. He ruled men, but he knew he could not rule the gods. His greatness was not that he controlled the uncontrollable, but that he mastered the one realm that belonged to him himself. Imagine a soldier swinging his sword at the wind. His arms grow tired, his blade dulls, yet the wind blows on untouched. Now imagine another soldier who sharpens his blade, trains his body, steadies his breath. He does not fight the wind. He prepares for the battle that is his to win. The first is a fool chasing illusions. The second is a master, anchored in reality. The same choice waits for you. Each day, you can swing at the wind or sharpen your blade. Each day, you can curse the storm or discipline your sail. The battle you cannot win is the one against the uncontrollable. The battle you can always win is the one within. So pause now. Where are you wasting strength? Where are you bleeding energy on fights that no victory can bring? And what would change if you withdrew from the impossible and invested it in the self you can master? Every illusion carries a cost, and the illusion of control is no different. It steals your peace. It poisons your relationships. It drains your strength. Worst of all, it blinds you to the power you do hold. Think of the parent who tries to control every step of a child. At first it looks like love, but soon it becomes suffocation. The child resists, the bond weakens, resentment grows. The illusion of control destroys the very thing it hoped to protect. Think of the leader who tries to dictate every detail, believing nothing can succeed without his hand. His team loses spirit, creativity dies, trust withers. The illusion of control destroys the very success it hoped to guarantee. Think of yourself. How many sleepless nights have you spent replaying words you could not take back, fearing futures you could not prevent, worrying about opinions you could not erase? Each of those hours was stolen by the illusion of control. The Stoics warned of this waste. They saw how men feared death, though it comes to all, how they chased approval, though it cannot be kept, how they gripped wealth, though it slips like water. And in every case, they paid the price of anxiety, frustration, despair, not because the world was cruel, but because they believed they could rule what was never theirs. Discipline is the cure. Not the discipline to control others, but the discipline to control yourself, to guard your thoughts, to master your reactions, to govern your desires. When you release what is not yours, you recover what is. When you stop paying the cost of illusion, you begin to collect the profit of reality. Reflect on this truth. The illusion of control has a price, and you are paying it daily. In your stress, in your arguments, in your regrets. The question is not whether you pay. The question is whether you will stop. There is a line in life that separates what belongs to you and what does not. Cross it, and you are lost in frustration. Stay on your side, and you walk in peace. That line is the boundary between what you can control and what you cannot. Epictetus drew this line clearly. He said, "Within our power are opinion, pursuit, desire, and aversion, and in one word, whatever, are our own actions." Beyond our power, our body, property, reputation, office, and in one word, whatever, are not our own actions. To forget this is to suffer. To remember, it is to be free. Look at your own life. You cannot control the body completely, for it grows old and sick. But you can control how you care for it, how you discipline it, how you strengthen it. You cannot control wealth completely, for markets rise and fall. But you can control your habits, your work, your choices. You cannot control reputation, for tongues will always wag. But you can control your honesty, your character, your integrity. The line of freedom is not drawn outside you, it is drawn within you. You will never rule the storm, but you can always rule your response to it. You will never command the clock, but you can always choose how you spend the hours it gives. You will never own the world, but you can always own yourself. Think of the weight you carry each day trying to manage the uncontrollable. What would happen if you laid it down? Think of the energy you waste clinging to outcomes you cannot fix. What would happen if you reclaimed it? The line is clear. Your freedom begins the moment you honor it. Pause and reflect. What lies beyond the line that you must release? And what lies within the line that you must strengthen? For the quality of your life depends not on how tightly you grip the world, but on how firmly you hold yourself. Surrender is a word many fear, because they confuse it with weakness. But surrender is not giving up. It is giving back what was never yours to hold. It is the art of letting go of the illusion, so that you can master the reality. A sailor does not command the wind, but he surrenders to its direction and adjusts his sail. A farmer does not command the seasons, but he surrenders to their rhythm and plants accordingly. A wise soul does not command fate, but he surrenders to its flow and walks with grace. This is not weakness. This is strength in its purest form. The Stoics practiced surrender daily. They rose each morning knowing death could come. They made plans knowing fortune could break them. They loved knowing loss could strike. And because they surrendered the illusion of control, they lived fully, bravely, gratefully. They were not paralyzed by fear of what might come, for they had already accepted that it was beyond their reach. Think of the peace you could have if you surrendered the impossible. If you stopped trying to control the opinions of others. If you stopped trying to dictate the future. If you stopped trying to resist every change. You would discover a lightness, a strength, a clarity you have never known. Surrender is not a chain, it is a release. It is not the end of effort, it is the beginning of wisdom. It does not make you passive, it makes you precise. For when you surrender what you cannot hold, you are free to grip tightly what you can. And that is where power lives. Ask yourself now, what illusions are you still clinging to? What battles are you still fighting in vain? And what freedom waits for you if you surrender them? The greatest prison is not made of stone. It is built from resistance. You resist change, so you suffer when it comes. You resist loss, so you ache when it arrives. You resist uncertainty, so you drown in fear of what may be. Life was never yours to hold still, yet you spend your days fighting to freeze the river. Imagine a man standing in the middle of a stream. The water pushes against him cold and endless. He plants his feet, he clenches his fists, he screams at the current to stop. But the current does not hear him. It flows, as it always has. Soon his strength fades, his body collapses, and the river carries him away. Now imagine another man in the same stream. He does not resist the flow, he moves with it. He does not demand that the water stop, he surrenders to its rhythm. He is not carried helplessly, for he has trained his body, disciplined his movement, guided his course. The first man lost because he tried to command the river. The second is free because he mastered himself. This is the prison of resistance. You fight life instead of living it. You battle change instead of adapting. You try to control what cannot be controlled, and in doing so you lose the one thing that can be mastered, yourself. The Stoics understood this prison well. They practiced the art of consent, to consent to life as it is, not as they demanded it to be. They trained their minds to say, "It is not what I wished, but it is what it is, and I will meet it with strength." In that consent, they found freedom. Ask yourself, where are you resisting today? What river are you screaming at? And what freedom waits if you stop fighting the flow and start guiding your course? At last, the truth stands clear. You do not control the world. You do not command the storm, the river, the future, the fate of others. But you control yourself, and that is enough. The man who masters himself wears a crown no one can take. His peace does not depend on the world's silence. His joy does not depend on fortune's kindness. His courage does not depend on outcomes. He carries his kingdom within. Marcus Aurelius wore this crown. Amidst war, betrayal, and disease, he wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He could not command the empire of fate, but he ruled the empire of himself, and that empire cannot fall. Picture a throne that floats above the storm. The wind howls, the waves crash, the world shakes. But on that throne sits a man calm, unshaken, sovereign over himself. That is the image of true mastery. Not the mastery of things, but the mastery of self. Self-mastery is not glamorous. It is built in quiet choices, in small disciplines, in daily victories. Waking on time when the bed whispers stay, holding your tongue when anger screams speak, standing tall when fear demands kneel. Each act is a brick, each choice a stone, and together they build the fortress of freedom. So remember this: the illusion of control ends in despair, but the crown of self-mastery ends in freedom. The world will not obey you, but your mind can. And if you rule that kingdom, you lack nothing. You have seen the illusion of control, how it enslaves the mind, how it poisons the heart, how it blinds you to the power you truly hold. And now you know the truth. You cannot control the storm, but you can command yourself. Yet, there is another power, greater still, waiting in silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of strength. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of mastery. The kind of silence that speaks louder than rage, that commands more respect than words, that disarms the world without lifting a hand. In the next part of Master Your Mind, we will enter that silence. We will uncover why silence is not emptiness, but the most powerful sound the soul can make. Stay with me. Part 8 is waiting, and in it, you will learn that sometimes the greatest control is found in saying nothing at all.